Well, welcome to AgileDad's most recent video session here that we actually are reviewing. We're trying to do this on a weekly basis. So welcome Stephanie and Ty together with me. I'm Jacob Anderson, the Senior Vice President of Operations with AgileDad. So we're going to be discussing a topic today that's quite interesting. I think at times when you're using Agile, so we have a lot of teams that say we have to be co-located. And as you'll notice right here on the screen, only two of us are co-located, right? So even if you see some of our last videos or podcasts, so we're not always in the same location, right? Stephanie, tell us a little bit of where you are.
So, hey guys, so I'm Stephanie Lindstrom. I'm an Agile coach and trainer with AgileDad, and I'm actually located in Tampa, Florida, a few miles away from my colleagues that you see on the other side of the screen that are in Salt Lake City. So I am with Lee Henson, I'm running our East Coast operations. So based out here in Tampa, we have several clients we're working with here locally as well elsewhere on the East Coast, and are growing exponentially, which is very exciting outside of the original market that was the Salt Lake City area. So very happy to join you guys today.
Very good. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Oftentimes we see the different challenges that come with encouraging Agile teams to be co-located, but it's not always possible for everyone to be in the same location. Technically speaking, be it from a dynamics perspective, whatever the situation is, we have to actually take advantage and try to approximate that as best as we possibly can, right?
Sometimes we just want to live in Florida.
That's true.
Right?
I'm sorry, it's the life.
Sometimes you just need the skiing in Utah, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Best of both worlds.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So
Luckily there's like all the technology we have today, these days, it really makes it a lot easier to get around these challenges. We have like this meeting, we have like our Zoom meetings, or there's multiple tools that you can use that you can get the faces and talk to people, and that really helps kind of get around some of these challenges that we have.
exactly.
I don't think it really substitutes that like water cooler talk or that we always talk about, but or hear about, or even just the ability to just kind of pick your head up over the cubicle and say, "Hey, Jerry, can you help me with this real quick?"
Right. Definitely doesn't replace that, right? I had someone suggest one time, "Hey, can we just have like a running video, like where the rest of the team sits?" And had one person say, "That would just be kind of weird." And like,
Creepy, maybe a little creepy.
there, I would be seeing you anyway. But being videotaped all the time just sounds weird to me, right? So,
Well, I think it's to also, Jacob, to what Ty said, that's really helpful is, I like to give this example to the clients even I work with here with co-located teams, whether they're in the US or abroad. I mean, I let them know, my gosh, we are not a technical team. We are a team where we implement strategy to help companies move their business forward in a positive way, right? So we take a bit of a different approach to some of the agile ways that technical teams may apply it. Well, hey, I tell you what, we do a stand-up at 10 o'clock Eastern time, at 8 o'clock Mountain time every day. Sometimes it's all of us. Everybody can't make it. It is what it is, but we make it work. We do it via phone. But then look, later in the day, yeah, we did that at 10 o'clock this morning, my time. Well, now it's 2 o'clock, and now we're doing a Zoom and talking to all of you folks. So it's very possible to make it work. We just have to make sure that everybody is on the understanding that having this face-to-face is incredibly important. It helps with the human aspect we lose when we're not having each other in the same room when it comes to body language, with a lot of the other things, facial expressions. I understand sometimes that I should not roll my eyes because I understand that I don't have sunglasses on right now, right? So, but you can easily do that on the phone. So it really helps from a human perspective also to bring this video element in. So thank goodness for where we are in technology that we have that luxury.
very good, very good. And I always think, 8 a.m.'s not that early, but when I happen to be on the West Coast and I'm in California, 7 a.m. is a little bit earlier, right?
It's early.
I always have to apologize when I jump on those morning calls, and I'm maybe a little bit groggy or other things like that, right? There's always some type of accommodation that needs to be made, and you try to do as best as you possibly can, right? So I was reminded of something, so by one of our team members, Eliza mentioned, Eliza Moody, so she's one of our Agile coaches and trainers. She mentioned a comment about a study that's been done, right? And this particular study shows there's scientific proof that when people are starting a venture together, so it's best to actually start people out together in the same location, right? So they have a shared understanding, there's some team building, other things like that, because then it helps that actual project or that initiative be much more successful. Now, I know both of you have worked with various organizations, as have I, throughout our careers. Have you seen anything like this? Have you seen anything to really justify this? Because I know I've seen it, and I see lots of companies that utilize this. What are you guys seeing?
Yeah, well, I definitely have in my career. So I worked for a long time with Western Digital on one of their really high-performing teams. And kind of one of the things that comes with that is we had engineers or technologists who are located on site with companies that we worked with very closely, like Microsoft in Redmond, Washington. We had a guy in Florida and another one in Virginia. And so we were kind of spread out. We had people with these various expertise in different areas. And so it was a challenge. We had a base here in Salt Lake as well, but that became kind of hard for us. We tried to use, we did the same thing with stand-ups over the phone and tried to use video as often as possible, but it's hard. So basically what we would do is once a quarter, we would have what we called a QBR, a quarterly business review, where we'd get not just the team, but also a lot of our stakeholders, whether they were a product owner or a vice president who we reported to, and we'd just work with them, and we'd get together for 2 or 3 days, and everyone had a chance to talk about what they had been working on for the past quarter and really kind of present themselves and show what their achievements for that quarter, kind of the results that they'd come up with, and share their learning with each other. And we were able to discuss it, and also we were able to get that face-to-face with vice presidents and the stakeholders and product owners who were kind of creating the work and generating the new work and showing us the roadmap going forward, what was coming up in the future. And so we got that face-to-face time, and then we were able to also spend the last day with just the team, and that's where we were able to do a quarterly retrospective together and talk about some of the big picture items that were things that we could improve. That's where we decided to go, in fact, from 1 week to 2 week sprints. We also, another thing that we had decided in one of those meetings was to go from from Monday to Friday, starting on Monday, ending on Friday, to starting on Wednesday and ending on Tuesdays. And that was actually kind of a weird idea at first, but it actually ended up working out great for our teams. So we were able to really make some kind of fundamental changes to the way we were working together as a group, just in those quarterly retrospectives. And that didn't take the place of our retrospectives that we did every sprint. But it was just a good opportunity to have everyone together. And then we also got to, we'd go out afterwards and we'd have a nice dinner, and we'd do a team activity, whether it was, riding go-karts or, laser tag or something fun, that just kind of building the team together and having that good camaraderie. And that really did a lot when we, later on, we were much closer. It's less of a big deal when you're really good friends with someone. Just give them a phone call if they're not located next to you, if they're not just in the cubicle next to you. So
I'm sorry, Jacob. I love what you said there, Ty, about the, it's amazing to pick up the phone and be able to call somebody that you're comfortable with, right? So I've seen very similar things with some of the companies that I've been working with, one specifically here in Tampa Bay, who is a large international corporation. And while they may be a little more immature on the Agile implementation that they're doing, being it's new. And so it's something they're getting used to. There are other divisions of this company that have had other areas who have been doing this for a very long time, with very seasoned scrum masters, with very seasoned coaches and individuals who are embedded within their group. And what they've actually done is they have brought down some of these individuals who are a part of the company, They're not external, but they understand the inner workings of the company to work with the teams to help them build and grow, especially into the culture that is that organization, which I think is super healthy for organizations to do as well. So.
Agreed. You know, anything you can do to help with that human aspect of what goes on. You know, a lot of people think, and I hear this time and again when I talk with companies, either when we're doing an assessment for them or when we're just actually talking through some potential problems they have and how they're addressing it. Everyone seems to think it's a process-related issue. That's what they always jump to, right? So, but think about it from the Agile Manifesto. It's not a matter of, you know, the process, right, and the tools. The very first thing that is talked about, so in that manifesto, is the idea of the individuals and interactions over the processes and tools, right? The reason why we have processes and tools is because we found those are efficient ways to go ahead and potentially, you know, have the best possible interaction with the people we're working with. But if it's inefficient, why would we go ahead and utilize that, right? Mm-hmm. We want to be able to leverage the people, right? It's the people that matter. And you guys have heard me mention this comment before. I think you've even heard Lee mention this particular story. So I made a joke with my wife one time when I came home from a training session. So snuggled up next to her, right? So that very special moment. No, don't worry, this is G-rated, okay? So, and snuggled up next to her and I said, honey, of all my resources, you're my most valuable, right? So I'm sure I got smacked. I didn't sleep in the bed that night. It was on the couch. So I found out it probably was a very positive thing because we got a new couch shortly thereafterwards. I figured out how uncomfortable the couch was, but that wasn't the point of it, right? So it's people are not resources. People are not tools. They're not expendable, right? And too often we actually see that happen. We have to really invest in the people if we want to see the true success that comes as a result of our efforts.
And in the interactions between those people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's exactly right.
One of the big secret sauces of Agile, of Scrum and Agile is it gets people talking. Like we have these ceremonies that are designed to get people talking about the right things, right? Correct. And in the right time boxes and doing it efficiently. So fostering those interactions between people is the reason we have the process.
It's true. It's true.
And I have to say, Ty, I 100% agree with that. And I think one thing to add to that is when we talk about these interactions, it's not just amongst the team members, right? It's amongst the stakeholders. It's amongst leadership, so they're stakeholders, but so internal and external. So we're talking interactions with customers. It is creating a conversation so everybody is able to get to the end result that is satisfactory or above satisfactory for what their needs are at that time.
Yeah. So kind of coming back to the co-located teams, it's about the people. So we need to be able to kind of foster those relationships for people that maybe aren't located together. So some of the ways that we've talked about doing that is having either a quarterly or maybe once or twice a year at least. Or maybe when you're kicking off a big project, you get everyone together, you fly people in. Other ways you can do it are video conferences like this regularly. I've seen teams before that we've coached, even their sprint planning. They had everyone on the phone, or if there was a guy that was like maybe homesick or home with a sick kid, he was calling in with a video, not just on the phone bridge. Yeah. You know, your Stephanie's blog kind of talks about this too, how, you know, sometimes it's easy when you're not on video to just kind of check out and just checking your email. And when someone calls your name, you're like, yeah, that's right, Jim. Good job.
It's a lot more obvious, you know, when I'm trying to go ahead and multitask here and I'm doing other things, you know, on my computer. So while we're actually video chatting, I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I'm paying attention.
Well, and also like I can't put these on my conference call, right? And roll my eyes, or on my video call. So it you can't hide it. It's that human interaction that I think it's really genuinely important for a team dynamic.
Excellent. Well, very good. Well, you know, I know this has been very helpful. You know, one of the biggest things that we always encourage when you're looking at communication styles, so it's always encouraged that face-to-face communication or conversation is the most efficient way to go ahead and communicate, or the most effective way to communicate, right? So that's the thing we want to go ahead and do first wherever possible. As we get a little bit more removed, video is closer, right? It's closer to that face-to-face because we're approximating this. Then we go to phone calls, right? And all of a sudden we go to our chat tools and other things like that, right? There's a lot of people that love various types of tools like that. And then we actually get into email, right? Email has to be one of the most impersonal things that exists in the world, okay? I even have discussions with clients. I have discussions with my kids at times about text messages that go back and forth multiple times. And the general rule is, if it goes back and forth more than like 2 or 3 interactions, I'm going to pick up the phone and call you.
Right.
If we can't understand each other in very brief interaction there's something that needs to happen as far as an actual conversation first. And then maybe if we still don't understand each other, maybe it needs to actually wait for a face-to-face communication, right? So that's a good rule of thumb to go ahead and look at, right? As you get further and further removed from that face-to-face communication, there's a lot of context that's missed.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we have to keep in mind that we don't offend it because context is missed. We have to actually move up in the layer of communication that needs to happen to be able to get closer to face as much as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Well, I know we had those few topics we wanted to cover. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
I want to say one more thing. And I absolutely agree with you that the closer to face, the better. That said, I've seen a lot of a lot of teams use tools like Slack.
Yes.
Really effectively.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a one, if it's a one question, one answer exchange. Correct. That's where Slack can be really, really great.
Yes.
Hey, what was the password to get back into that one tool?
Yes.
Just among your team. Oh, it's this. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cookies are yummy or whatever. Yeah.
That's a good password.
Yes.
So don't shy away from those. They can still be effective, but when it makes sense, if you're going back and forth more than once, definitely do it. Like Jacob said.
Yeah.
And you just pick up the phone, give him a call. Be known as the team that will call you.
That's right.
That's what you want.
I like that.
Call you.
I was talking to this past week that they made the comment. They said in their team agreements that they have, so their working agreements, they said that if you don't get a response from your email, please follow up with the person over the phone or in person, right?
I like that.
Because they could have been busy. That could be why they didn't get your email, right? Or they could have misunderstood something. So always give the benefit of the doubt. Follow up with them as close to face as you can in person.
Love it.
Well, excellent. Well, I hope everyone has found this beneficial. I know that that Stephanie's gone into a lot more detail on her blog post that's actually on the AgileDad website. So she has a lot of different ideas around the meetings or the ceremonies that we actually have, as far as the sprint planning sessions, the daily stand-ups, even getting into like release planning or backlog refinement or grooming, right? All those types of things are very helpful to go ahead and consider what does co-location add to the benefit that we get out of those types of ceremonies. So, excellent. Well, make sure you check out that blog on the AgileDad.com website. Go to the area that says blogs, and you'll scroll down and see Agile Teams. It'll say co-location and 21st century challenges, I believe is what it actually is labeled as. So otherwise, we're going to actually wrap up here. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Learn more at AgileDad.com. Or you can actually give us a call at 866-94-AGILE. Okay, so you can get in touch with an Agile coach or trainer to talk through any sort of questions or concerns that you have. So it's been a pleasure, of course, talking to both of you as it always is. So any other parting words?
Just happy Tuesday from Tampa.
Oh, it's Taco Tuesday.
And Taco Tuesday.
Tampa Tuesday.
Tampa Tuesday. Oh, there.
Tampa Tuesday. I like that. All right, team.
Well, everyone have a wonderful day, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.